Hey, everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co host, and partner in crime, Christy Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey, everybody. We're back as a team. Woo!
Look who's back. Back again. Well, and
Right?
big thanks to you for holding down the fort. You killed it last
Yeah.
week.
I did my best, and everybody was great. Very supportive. Thank you all so much. It's
Very
weird. I
nice.
haven't solo podcasted in many years now. And so when soloing is weird, when we're so used to, having each other to talk to, it's
Yeah.
strange.
Well, I know I hounded the hell out of you last week with
You
I
found all kinds of good stuff.
I sent her so much stuff. She's probably like, I'm about to unfriend you on Messenger. But
Oh no.
I was
So much
in
happened last week. It was crazy.
gosh, it was huge. I was in Tucson for a week for softball. And of course, like the big Chad Daybell thing happened. And every time I go out of town, something huge happens. I swear to God. So
Hmm.
you did awesome. And Tucson was great, except for that we got robbed.
It's terrible.
Robbed. What was stolen from us? 60 lemons. That's what, 60 lemons.
It's the
We,
crime of the century.
right now. Like I really have it real rough here. We had bought 60 lemons from a local off of their organic trees, thinking that would be fun to bring home to make limoncello and juice and freeze and, do all the
Yeah.
lemony things. And these lemons were freaking huge. They were like orange size. They were amazing. And we had put them in a Trader Joe's bag next to our Airbnb while we went out one day, our last day there. And when we got home, they were gone. Our wagon that we had put them in was there. They were gone. And so we texted our landlord because he lives around the corner and said, "Hey, have you been by? Did you see anything?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, my yard guy was by. I'm sure he threw those away." That was the whole answer.
What? Why would anyone do that?
Well,
Why would just
no apology, no,
right?
what can I do to make this right? Like, also, the yard guy didn't throw them away because we'd checked the trash before we ever checked with him. That just wasn't true. And I know it's just
Mhm.
lemons, but damn it, we had
Right?
to come back to a foot of snow and no lemons. So there
Right.
you go.
When you live in the tundra and you're
Yeah,
down in this warm place where there's actual citrus fruit ripening upon a tree,
yeah.
that's a big loss.
I was disgusted. Who does shit like
Well,
that, really?
right? When we were kids, our dad would have customers in his barbershop that would go south in the wintertime and come home and bring us like a whole box of oranges or, you know, grapefruits or something.
Avocados from California.
Avocados, yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful stuff that we really couldn't get decent at that time of year here.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was a big deal when we got stuff like that.
Oh, it was a treat. Yeah. So we're bringing home all these glorious lemons to share and use and eat. And so this summer, when we're not sipping on limoncello, you'll know why.
Yeah, no kidding. What the hell?
I'm horrified. Other than that, it was great. There's 2 art glass stores in Tucson, so that was really fun to get to go
Fun.
visit and buy a few things, and it was great. Softball was great. The weather was great. It rained for 2 days, but I can live with that. Yeah, it was great. It was a great trip, but that's
Fun.
all.
That is
Yeah.
cool.
Well, beyond that, crime just keeps on criming, so we have
Well, it sure
plenty to
does.
talk about. Yeah.
We do.
So, Christy, I'm going to kick it straight over to you for a crime news update.
Yes. We have some new information about Robert Card. This is Robert Card. Robert Card, if you remember, is a man who shot and killed 18 people in Lewiston, Maine last year,
Yeah.
and then took his own life.
Mhm.
We've talked quite a bit about him at the time that it happened because it was so frustrating that the army knew he was an army reservist, and the
Yeah.
army knew he was having mental health trouble. The local police knew he was having mental health trouble, yet everything just fell through the cracks. And Robert Card, shouldn't have had guns, probably shouldn't even have been free of his own will at the
Mhm.
time. But the system did not work the way that it is meant to work.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, things really deteriorated for Robert Card, and he made the choice to kill 18 people. It
Yeah.
was a terrible, terrible case. So a report has come out. His family actually has released a study that was done on his brain. And it is rather revealing and something that I think we need to be more aware of, wondering these questions of why do these mass shootings happen? Why does someone deteriorate to that point? Well, so the main chief medical examiner wanted to have a post-mortem study of Robert Card's brain by the Boston University CTE Center. So CTE is chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It's what football players get and boxers get
Mhm.
if they've had too many injuries, and it's a very deteriorating brain disease.
Mhm.
And they wanted to know, uh, what did Robert Card's brain look like? Because his job, he was an Army reservist, and he was an instructor in the Army at a hand grenade training range.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And it is believed that he was exposed to thousands of low level blasts.
Mhm.
That's according to Boston University's Concussion Legacy Foundation.
Mhm.
So, Robert Card's family chose to release this report, which I think is really important because we need to have a better understanding of what's happening. If we can prevent any of these shootings, part of that is knowing why are they happening to begin with.
Yeah.
So, Robert Card did not have CTE, but he did have evidence of traumatic brain injury. So there was evidence in the white matter of the brain, the nerve fibers that allow for communication between different areas of the brain.
Mhm.
There was also significant degeneration in his brain, axonal and myelin loss, which are just more structures in the brain that were deteriorating,
Mhm.
inflammation, and small blood vessel injury. So he had a significant amount
Yeah.
of damage in his brain from all those blasts.
Mhm.
And as we know, traumatic brain injuries can result in personality change, behavior change. Like it's very significant
Oh
when
yeah.
someone has a brain injury. And his brain injury just sort of happened slowly over time rather than one major blow to the head or, four or five major concussions. He just was slowly getting more damage and more damage and more damage
Mhm.
on that hand grenade range. Small injuries can heal themselves.
Sure.
But when an injury just it's your brain is being injured over and over and over again, your brain doesn't recover.
Yeah.
But brain injury can cause problems with how a person thinks, understands, moves, communicates, and
Oh
acts.
yeah.
Big
You
time.
think about the football players with CTE that we have known of, that
Yes.
have committed terrible crimes and stuff, and as it turned
Yes.
out, their brains were just
I was just
disasters.
trying to say his name. Oh,
Antonio Brown.
yeah, Antonio Brown was one. There's another one, or another
I
real
think it's
famous one.
Antonio Brown. I hope that's right.
I can't think of the other one. Anyway, there was another one also that after he passed away and his brain was a
Mhm.
disaster area. So this is really important stuff. We need to understand what the hell is causing people to behave this way, and sometimes there are legitimate medical issues going on.
Mhm.
So, one of the things that this that the report said is these findings align with our previous studies on the effect of blast injury in humans and experimental models. While I cannot say with certainty that these pathological findings underlie Mr. Card's behavioral changes in the last 10 months of life based on our previous work, brain injury likely played a role in his symptoms.
Sure.
No shit.
Yeah.
So the Army released this statement. The lab findings, included in CFC Card's autopsy report, indicating brain injury, are concerning and underscore the Army's need to do all it can to protect soldiers against blast-induced injury,
Hmm.
or anything at all to
Yeah.
against that. Or maybe when you know someone is really off and they shouldn't be having firearms and you're not letting them work, maybe that's something that you should be, I don't know, acting on a little bit more.
Well, in the sheriff's department, because they knew they'd been sent to check on him and he just wasn't ever home. So
Right.
sorry about it. Yeah.
Yeah. This was handled so badly. And now we know, that this is a potential part of what happened that resulted in all of this happening on October 25th of last year.
That is so sad. I mean, the whole thing is
It
so
is.
devastating and horrifying for that community and
It
also
is.
for his family. I
Yes.
hope this brings some level of peace to his family. It probably doesn't. I mean, I'm sure they're madder than hell right now and they should be.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
everyone had agreed he wasn't a bad guy. Like to do something like this
Right.
was so out of his character, and I think it helps
Right.
to explain a little bit why this happened
Why?
versus
Yeah. Yeah, his family said that they released this report to help prevent further tragedies from occurring. And they said that they are so very sorry for his actions and are hurting for survivors and members of the Lewiston community, which I'm sure, can you imagine
oh,
a family member of yours doing this?
yeah,
So
horrifying.
yeah, they said, well, we cannot go back. We are releasing the findings of Robert's brain study with the goal of supporting ongoing efforts to learn from this tragedy to ensure it never happens again.
Sure.
And yeah, I think maybe it does help them a little bit, at least understand what was happening and to, be something that they could do to
Hmm.
help. But I think it's very important that we become more aware of these kinds of things, that mass shootings don't just happen. It's not just a spur of the moment thing. There are things leading up to these things that are, it's just so frustrating that we're not doing enough prevention.
Right. We've been
And
grappling to
this is
understand.
certainly part
Yeah,
of it. Is an
absolutely.
awareness of, when a person starts acting very differently and dangerously, they may be having some kind of medical event. And it sounds like maybe that was, in fact, the case for
Yeah.
Robert Card.
Well, huge props to Card's family for being willing to
Yeah.
release that report and have the public
Yeah.
conversation. Really, really important and good on them.
Absolutely. Most definitely. Yeah. And with that, Katie, I'm going to kick the mic back to you for our main case.
Okay. Well, this is a missing persons report. We are talking about Sebastian Rogers.
Yes.
So Sebastian Rogers is 15. He went missing on February 26th uh,
Mm,
near Beach High School on Stafford Court. This is in Hendersonville, Tennessee.
mhm,
And Sebastian has kind of sandy brown or brownish, dirty dishwater brown hair, brown eyes.
mhm,
He's 5'5", he's 120 pounds. Sebastian is autistic. He's high functioning though and verbal, but
mhm.
is yeah has autistic tendencies. He was last seen wearing a black sweatshirt and black sweatpants. However, there were no shoes missing, so they don't
Oh.
think that he went missing with shoes on his feet.
Oh, no.
He also may have a little flashlight with him. He's been missing for 2 weeks, and two
That
weeks
is a long
today.
time.
And one of the challenges is he is without medication.
Mm,
And oh, he also wears glasses if you're listening, not
mhm,
watching. Uh, there's a lot of big worries here about where in the world this boy is. So I'm going
mm,
to give you a bit of a timeline here. So mom said that she saw him last when he went to bed the night before, and then dad went or stepdad went to work, and when she got up the next morning to wake him up to go to school, he was not there.
mm,
So she says that she checked around the house. He was clearly not there, and she
mhm.
called the stepdad, and they did a joint call to the police. And then, of course, the police came, and everyone started searching. Their community has been searching, adamantly. They've been amazing. There's been a vigil for him, at least one. There's been a lot of coverage in their area, looking for this boy. One day last week, the police decided that they needed to check the landfill, which just made me sick inside thinking about like
Yeah.
the Simon boy and
Mhm.
those women in Alaska that were,
Yes.
the victims of a serial killer and were all put in a landfill that have not been found. The authorities refused to look for, and then finally said, I think they would, but I don't think they've, turned up anything. But
Right.
bodies in landfills is a terrifying thought because
Yes.
landfills are filled in layers. And
Right.
so before a body could be found, there could be many feet of trash on top of them. And
Right.
so, but they did search the landfill for a couple of days. They said it was a precautionary measure. It still pricked a lot of ears because we were like, precautionary measures to search the landfill? Because that's a
Yeah.
huge undertaking.
Well, and a lot, yeah, like a lot of municipalities refuse to do it because it's
Oh,
such a huge undertaking.
and it's such a huge risk to the people doing the
Yeah, it's
searching.
not
It's
safe at all for the
a
searchers.
terrible, yeah, endeavor. But at any rate, uh, they didn't find anything, or at least that they're releasing. They're saying that they have cleared the landfill. They did bring in
Mhm.
dogs. Initially, it was said that the dogs hit on nothing, but there was an interview today with dad. So Simon lived with, or Simon, I'm sorry, Sebastian lived with mom and stepdad, but also has a bio dad. And bio dad happens to work in law enforcement and
Mm,
has taken a leave from his county to come to where his kid is and be searching for him nonstop. And he
mhm,
actually finally did an interview today that was very interesting. So he talked to Dick Barris and he told him that there was a hit towards a construction site,
mm.
but that is absolutely the only hit there
A
was
hit as in like from the dogs
from the
or
dogs.
like
Yeah,
okay.
from the dogs. But they don't have anything more on that. His dad
Mm,
says that it just doesn't make any sense. It
mm-mm.
doesn't make sense to me that a kid that's barefoot could walk out of a house and
And
wander
just
away
disappear.
and the dogs wouldn't hit on anything.
Right.
Dad also says that Sebastian absolutely would never go outside without shoes and socks on because he, as a littler guy, stepped in the middle of an anthill and
Ooh.
super bad experience. And so he's terrified to go outside without shoes and socks. So
Mm.
he's very concerned about that piece, obviously.
Had he been seen by other people other than mom and stepdad leading up to this?
On Sunday, yeah, he'd
Okay.
spent the day out with his mom and his aunt. They'd been to Costco and
Okay.
done a few things, and yeah, so yeah, his identity had been verified. I had a question about his bed. Had his bed been slept in? Did it look like it had been slept in?
Yeah.
At what point in the day or night? Mom says she was up and down until about midnight, and dad had left for work around the same time, or stepdad, sorry, sometime around 10. At what point? They're saying he probably disappeared sometime between 12 and 6 a.m. Did he ever sleep in his bed? Did he ever get in his bed?
Right. Yeah. Did he use a phone? Did he have a phone?
He did have a phone, and I'm not clear about whether or not he has his phone or he doesn't.
If he does, it's not on, obviously.
It must not
They'd be
be. I'm
able to
guessing that
clean
he
it.
doesn't actually. Yeah. And they said that he doesn't use his phone the way other normal, not normal, other teenagers would. Uh, he's not hooked at the hip to it, and he usually really only used his phone for communication. So it
Hmm.
may not have even, it might not really be a thing, him having his phone or
Right.
not. But it's a scary story. It's very, very concerning. And, obviously everyone in that community is terribly worried. And nobody knows what to think at this point.
Yeah.
Obviously, the story is kind of dicey when you look at the timeline and the fact that the dogs didn't hit on him walking out of the house. And I
Yeah.
don't know what to say. I don't know. I What I know is that it's a sad story and it's a very concerning story because where in the
It
world is
is.
this little guy?
Yeah. That's very scary. Very, very scary.
Also, he'd never done this before.
Okay. So he
Uh,
wasn't a kid that was kind of a runner.
no,
That.
nope, he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a runner. And I know some autistic kids are, and we have a hard time keeping them in the house. I lost a real sweet guy from my daycare one time, and the police brought him back, and it was awful. But
Oh yeah, I'll bet.
yeah, because he was a runner, and that was known. But at any rate,
Hmm.
Sebastian wasn't, and so that makes it that much more odd to his
Right.
family. With it, it just makes no sense. Nothing about
No.
this makes sense. I just want to share a couple more pictures so that you see his face very well. This is what he looks like. Apparently, he loved Spider-Man and he loves Minecraft.
Okay. Oh, there's his pup.
Mhm. Yeah. His dad said he's a friendly kid, and if you thought you saw him and you said his name, he would respond and respond back to you.
Hmm.
So at this point, all we can do is make broad awareness, and so that's why, of course, we're featuring him because everyone, not just in Tennessee, but everyone needs to be very aware of this missing child and just be
Yeah.
aware. Keep your eyes
Yeah.
peeled. Be aware of this story. And I think also it's just always keeping the heat on, keeping the attention up, keeping the awareness going that keeps the momentum going and searching for these kids when they go
For
missing.
sure. For
So,
sure.
so that's what I've got. I will keep you guys posted as this story I am suspecting is going to, continue to unravel for a while or unfold for a while. And we'll, obviously keep our peepers on this one and keep you
Yeah.
guys in the loop. So, with that, Christy, I'm going to kick the mic back over to you for a crime news update.
Yes. Okay, so I want to talk to you. This is a case we have not covered before. I just discovered it today, but it's a heartbreaker. This is Malik Jones. And Malik Jones went missing in Missouri in January. And his sister and other family members referred to him as a gentle giant. He was 6'3". He was 25 and was just a real sweetheart that everybody loved him and his family. And he went missing on January 30th, and everyone knew something was wrong because he wouldn't just go away
Mhm.
without telling somebody where he was. So Nika, his sister, um, and her mother, Shauna, started searching for him morning till night every day. And on February 7th, unfortunately, they were driving near Columbia, Missouri, and they spotted something on the side of the road in the woods. So they stopped and they hopped out of the car And they walked over to what they had seen, and it was Malik,
Oh, no.
his body. So they called 911 to let the police know. Of course, can you imagine
Oh,
the trauma of this for his family to be the ones?
no.
His death is being investigated as a homicide, and a 15-year-old suspect has been taken into custody in connection with this case.
What?
Yeah, we don't know their name, obviously, because they're 15, but Malik is 25 and 6'3". Malik's a big guy.
Right.
Kind of terrifying, and Malik's family really doesn't think that that kid acted alone. They just can't imagine how this person could have taken him down by themselves.
Mhm.
Um, his cause of death has not been released, but obviously it's being investigated as a homicide.
Mhm.
And so people right now are just being asked to come forward if they saw Malik, if they know anything about this situation, to please come forward and
Mhm.
to call the police, because the family is absolutely shattered. And to have to be the ones to find his body is awful.
Right. That's
And
really terrible.
you know how these cases go when it's an adult who's missing,
Mhm.
is that the police don't take it very seriously because adults are allowed to just disappear. And so they don't necessarily treat them like missing persons.
Yeah.
And so the family was out looking for him because somebody needed to be looking for him,
Yeah.
and found his body.
Oh, that's
Just
horrifying.
heartbreaking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue to follow this case. I'd really like to see, what is the cause of death, and what is the connection with this 15-year-old, and
Mhm.
are there other people involved as well? So it's just really sad.
Oh, man.
And for his family, for Malik Jones's family, we just wanted to send our love, and also to keep attention on this case to make sure that it gets the attention that it deserves, so they can solve this
Yeah.
and figure out what the hell happened here.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, dang it. All of our love to them for sure.
definitely.
Well, with that, that's it for Monday. So we're going to be back tomorrow with a whole new episode. We'll be
Mhm,
back Wednesday night with case updates. And then we'll be back Thursday with a new episode as well. So lots more to
mhm.
come this week. We've got our peepers securely on the Chad Daybell case. I'm updating his docket 2 or 3 times a day to see what has changed, if anything. Nothing today. So we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah,
I just feel like there's so many wheels turning at this
and so
point.
much of it's sealed.
Sealed.
We're just not even going to know
Yep.
what the outcome was of the majority of it.
Yep. Yep. We just don't get to know. Some of it we won't know, like that witness that they were trying to preclude. The
Mhm.
prosecution wanted to preclude. We'll know whether he testifies or not.
He will or he won't.
Yep.
I can't imagine that the Summer Shiflett Rob Wood phone call is gonna, or conversation is gonna go anywhere. I can't even believe they're bringing it up again. But
Yeah. I guess we'll know if Rob Wood is being called as a witness when we see him on the witness stand.
I guess so. Think that's very unlikely considering he is a prosecutor. But
We always thought that it was Pryor driving the bus on that and just putting means up to all this crazy shit. And this just really
right,
confirms it.
we talked about that many times. That
Mhm.
yeah, that it would be Pryor's idea, but Means was the dumb enough to put it forward.
Get his hair on fire and go for it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, his hair. Yeah, his lack of hair. That's why he was bald.
Always getting his hair on fire. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently.
There you go. All righty. Well, we'll be back. Thanks so much for being here, you guys. Have a great rest of your day or night or, you know, whatever time it is where you are. Please do something good for yourself. You absolutely deserve it. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.